The sky over Antarctica was cold and quiet, just like every other day. The sun hung low on the horizon, casting long shadows across the icy research base. Inside a small command center, a young tech specialist named Ethan Blake sat hunched over his console, scanning data from satellites orbiting Earth. He wasn't supposed to be working today, but something had been bugging him since yesterday. Strange readings had shown up near the edge of the planet's atmosphere. Something big, fast, and unknown. Most people thought it was just space junk or a military test. Ethan wasn't so sure. Then it happened. A flash lit up the sky as dozens of massive ships appeared out of nowhere, floating silently above the Pacific Ocean. They were unlike anything humans had ever built. Sleek, dark, and terrifying. Governments around the world scrambled to respond, but before anyone could react, a message came through every TV, radio, and phone on the planet. "You are ordered to surrender immediately," said a cold voice. "Resistance will be met with total destruction." Panic spread quickly. Cities emptied. Leaders argued. Soldiers stood ready, but no one knew what to do. The alien armada didn't move closer, but they didn't leave either. They waited, like hunters watching prey. Back at the base, Ethan stared at the screen, heart pounding. He saw patterns in the alien signals, repeating pulses, weak spots. Maybe, just maybe, there was a way to fight back. He turned to his friend, Lisa, a communications officer. "What if we send something back?" She frowned. "Like what?" "A jamming signal. Not strong enough to destroy them, but enough to confuse them." Lisa looked nervous. "That's insane and illegal." Ethan nodded. "Probably, but if we don't try now, we might never get another chance." After hours of work, they uploaded the signal into an old satellite network. With a deep breath, Ethan hit the button. For a few seconds, nothing happened. Then one of the alien ships flickered. Its position shifted slightly. Then another ship crashed into it. Alarms blared across the globe as the aliens lost control for just a moment. It wasn't much, but it was enough. Someone noticed, and that someone was watching very closely. In the hours after the signal was sent, the world changed. News of the alien ships wobbling in orbit spread fast. People who had been terrified now felt something else. Hope. Someone had hit back, and the aliens had noticed. Back at the Antarctic base, Ethan Blake stared at the screen as reports came in from satellites. One alien cruiser had spun out of control and slammed into another. Fire bloomed in space, silent and deadly. Debris rained down into the upper atmosphere before burning away. "We did that?" Lisa whispered. Ethan nodded slowly. "Looks like it. They weren't heroes yet, but they were no longer just two soldiers hiding in a cold research station. Someone important had seen what they did." Within minutes, encrypted messages arrived from Washington. Orders came through. "Keep working. Stay quiet. Help is on the way." Soon after, a plane landed at the base. Out stepped President Daniel's top science advisor, Dr. Lena Torres. She was smart, calm, and not easily impressed. But when she saw the data, her eyes lit up. "This could change everything," she said. While the world tried to organize a defense, Ethan and Lena worked nonstop. They studied the alien signals, found more weaknesses, and built a better version of the jamming code. This time, it wasn't just about causing confusion. It was about buying time. Then the Zevran Dominion struck back. Cities across Europe and Asia went dark. Strange drones dropped from orbit, tearing through buildings and military bases. People ran. Governments fell silent. But then, something unexpected happened. Military units equipped with prototype jamming tech, based on Ethan's work, managed to shoot down several drones before they could do more damage. In New York, a team in a hidden bunker uploaded a fake signal to the alien network. For 10 minutes, half the enemy fleet thought they were under attack from their own side. It was chaos. And for the first time, the aliens looked afraid. Word of Ethan's actions spread. Videos of him speaking in broken transmissions began to appear online. He didn't say much, but his message was clear. "We're not giving up. We're not going down easy." Lisa found him staring at a live feed of the Damaged alien ships floating above Earth. Do you think they'll come after us harder now? She asked. Ethan exhaled. Probably. But now we know. We can fight them. And deep in space, the Zevran command watched everything unfold. They had expected silence, surrender, weakness. Instead, they got defiance. And that scared them more than anything. The world was changing. Fear was still there, but so was something else. Anger, pride. The Zevran Dominion had thought Earth would fall without a fight. They had been wrong. After the jamming signal caused chaos in their fleet, the aliens sent a new message. This time, it was not just a demand for surrender. It was a threat. Your actions will not be forgiven. You will be erased. But instead of breaking, people stood taller. Protests turned into rallies. Soldiers who had once felt helpless now trained with new weapons built from captured alien tech. Ethan Blake and Lena Torres became symbols of hope, even though they never asked for it. In Washington, President Daniels called an emergency meeting with leaders from every major country. For the first time in history, they agreed on one thing. They would not bow. They formed a new global force called Earth Strike Command, OSS or ESCE, made up of soldiers, scientists, and pilots from every nation. Their mission was simple: protect Earth at all costs. Meanwhile, Ethan and Lena worked non-stop at a hidden base deep underground. They were building something new, a stronger signal, one that could shut down entire alien ships if it hit the right target. But the Zevrans were not waiting. A massive alien warship dropped out of hyperspace above Africa. It hovered silently, for a moment, then fired. A beam of light shot down and wiped out an entire military base in seconds. Then came the dropships. Dozens of them fell toward the surface, carrying strange alien soldiers and machines. The invasion had begun. SE launched its first counterattack. Jets flew up to meet the enemy. Ground forces moved fast, guided by intel from Ethan's team. For the first time, humans did not just defend. They struck back. In the middle of the chaos, a small SK unit managed to capture a Zevran commander alive. His name was Vraxis Kill. He was tall, armored, and filled with rage. But when he looked at the human soldiers holding him, he did not see fear. He saw fire. Back in the control room, Ethan watched footage of the battle. Cities burning, soldiers dying, but also winning. Pushing back, Lisa stood beside him. This is only the start, isn't it? Ethan nodded. Yeah, and we're not going to lose. Outside, the war for Earth had truly begun. The moon was no longer just a symbol of peace. Now, it was a battlefield. The Zevran Dominion had sent a large force to establish a base on the far side of the moon. Their goal was clear. They wanted a foothold from which to strike Earth with precision. If they succeeded, it would be impossible to stop them. Earth Strike Command knew this. They had only one chance to stop the aliens before they dug in for good. Ethan Blake and Lena Torres were part of the mission. Along with a small team of elite soldiers, they boarded a stealth dropship bound for the lunar surface. Their job was not to fight head-on, but to sabotage the alien landing zones and communication towers. As the ship approached the moon, silence filled the cabin. Everyone knew what was at stake. If they failed, the war would be over before it truly began. They landed behind enemy lines under the cover of darkness. The moon's gray dust swirled around them as they moved quickly toward their first target, a power relay that fed energy to the alien defenses. Lisa, Ethan's friend and comms expert, crouched beside him. "This place feels dead," she whispered. "It won't stay quiet for long," he replied. They reached the relay without being seen. Lena worked fast, planting charges while Ethan kept watch. When the explosion lit up the dark, alarms screamed across the alien camp. The Zevrans responded instantly. Strange insect-like drones flew into the sky, scanning for intruders. Soldiers in black armor rushed to defend key positions. But the distraction worked. From orbit, ESC launched a full-scale assault. Jets and dropships descended onto the moon, fighting hard to take control of the battlefield. The ground shook with fire and noise. In the middle of the chaos, Lena made a discovery. She intercepted a signal from the Zevran commander. He was confused. His systems were failing and his troops were not responding as expected. "They don't understand us," she said. "They can't predict what we'll do next." Ethan saw an opening. Using captured alien tech, they sent out fake commands to the Zevran forces, making them think they were under attack from multiple directions. Confusion turned into panic. Eski took advantage. They pushed forward, destroying key structures and forcing the Zevrans into retreat. When the battle ended, the moon belonged to humanity. Vraxis Kell, the captured alien commander, watched everything from a prison cell aboard a human warship. For the first time, he did not look angry. He looked afraid. Back on Earth, the victory spread like fire. People cheered. Cities lit up the night sky. Hope was no longer just a word. It was a weapon, and humans had just sharpened it. After the victory on the moon, the world changed again. Not just in what people believed, but in how they acted. Fear was still there, but it no longer ruled them. Now, they fought with purpose. Earth Strike Command grew stronger every day. Factories ran nonstop, building weapons and ships using both human design and alien tech. Scientists worked side by side with soldiers to understand what had once seemed impossible. And at the heart of it all were Ethan Blake and Lena Torres. Ethan had become more than a tech expert. He was now a leader. He trained new teams, planned missions, and worked closely with military commanders like Captain Marcus Cole and Commander Dana Reyes. Lena, meanwhile, led a team that studied captured Zevran messages. She found something big, something that could change everything. Deep inside the data, she uncovered coordinates, not for Earth, but for the Zevran homeworld. It was a secret most would have kept quiet. But not Ethan. He saw an opportunity. If the Zevrans thought they could come to Earth and take what they wanted, then maybe it was time to show them what real fear felt like. He proposed a mission, not to conquer, not to destroy, but to send a message. A strike team would jump into deep space, find the Zevran core systems, and hit them where it hurt. Not just to damage their fleet, but to prove that humans were not just defenders. They were fighters, and they could bring the war home. The idea was controversial. Some leaders feared it would provoke a greater attack. Others argued it was suicide. But President Daniels listened, and after long hours of debate, the order came through. Operation Firestorm was a go. Preparations began at once. The best pilots, engineers, and soldiers were chosen. The newly built ship USS Liberty was loaded with hybrid weapons, stealth tech, and enough fuel for a one-way jump. Ethan stood beside Lena as they reviewed final plans. "You don't have to come," he said. She looked at him like he was crazy. "Of course I do. Someone has to make sure you don't crash us into a planet." As the launch date neared, the world watched. This was no longer just about survival. It was about pride, about proving that humanity would not be pushed into a corner and forgotten. When the time came, the USS Liberty lifted off under the night sky, engines roaring. Millions watched from Earth, hoping, praying. They were going into the unknown, but they were not going to run. Space was dark and silent as the USS Liberty flew through it. The mission had begun with hope, but now, after days of travel, the crew faced problems they hadn't expected. Systems failed without warning. Food supplies spoiled faster than planned. Tempers flared. The jump to deep space had taken a toll on both the ship and the people inside it. Even Ethan Blake, who had always been sure of their cause, felt doubt creep into his mind. They were heading toward the Zevran homeworld, but no one knew what they would find when they got there. Then, the sensors picked up something ahead. An enormous Zevran warship floating in silence, its engines glowing like stars. It was not moving alone. It was waiting. "Looks like we're not the only ones with plans," said Captain Marcus Cole, arms crossed. Commander Dana Reyes studied the data. "This ship, it's preparing to jump back to Earth." Ethan stood up straight. If the Zevrans were sending a massive warship to Earth, it meant they were planning something big, maybe even a final strike. There was no time to debate. The team had come all this way to send a message. Now, they had to act. Lieutenant Ryan Carter stepped forward. He was young, but fearless. "I can take her out," he said. Everyone knew what that meant. He was volunteering for a suicide run. Ethan looked at him, then at Lena Torres, who gave a slow nod. They didn't want to lose anyone, but they couldn't let that ship reach Earth. Carter suited up, climbed into a small fighter, and launched from the Liberty. He flew fast and low, dodging enemy fire, weaving between debris and laser blasts, and then he hit his mark. The explosion lit up space. The alien warship's warp core went critical. The shockwave tore through the enemy fleet, disabling 2 more ships. Back aboard the Liberty, the crew watched in stunned silence. He was gone. But he had done it. With the path clear, Ethan gave the order. "Let's finish this." Escorted by remaining fighters, the Liberty moved in and launched a surprise orbital strike on the Zevran command center. Bombs fell like rain, tearing through towers and defense systems. As they pulled away, Lena sent out a final broadcast. Live footage of the destruction sent straight to Earth. "This is not conquest," Ethan said into the camera. "This is defense. Do not return." For the first time, humans had taken the fight to the enemy, and they had won. Not just a battle, but a warning. Earth was not weak, and they would never be victims again. The Zevran Dominion did not send more ships. They did not fire another shot. Instead, they sent something no one expected. Messengers. A small alien vessel arrived at the edge of Earth's space. It did not carry weapons or soldiers. It carried diplomats. For the first time since the invasion began, the aliens wanted to talk. On Earth, people watched with caution. Some feared it was a trick. Others hoped for peace. But everyone knew one thing. The war had changed everything. Ethan. Blake stood beside Lena Torres as they walked into the negotiation hall aboard a floating ski station. The room was quiet, filled only with translators, military leaders, and the Zevran delegation. Fraxis Kell was there too, once a proud commander, now a prisoner of war. But he did not look angry anymore. He looked thoughtful. The lead Zevran diplomat spoke through a translator. "Your species was not meant to survive us." Ethan crossed his arms. "We didn't get that memo." The alien ignored the joke. "You fought like no other conquered world ever has. You turned our own tech against us. You struck at our home." Lena stepped forward. "We were defending ours." There was silence. Then the diplomat nodded slightly. "We will leave. We will not return." Gasps filled the room. But the alien added one last warning. "Others may come. Not all will speak. Some will only destroy, President." Daniels, watching from a screen, responded, "Then let them come." After the meeting, the Zevran fleet pulled back. Within days, they vanished from human space. Back on Earth, the skies were quiet again. Cities rebuilt. Soldiers returned home. But nothing was the same. People no longer looked at the stars with wonder alone. They looked with purpose. Humanity was no longer just a species on a small blue planet. They were known, and they were ready. As Ethan stood on a rooftop in New York looking up at the night sky, Lena joined him. "You think it's over?" she asked. He shook his head. "No, this is just the start." She smiled. "Then we'll be ready." Far away in deep space, other eyes may have been watching, but now they would think twice before landing, because next time they might not get a warning.